Hi, welcome back. I'm Connie Colosi, Director of Media, Text, and Digital Learning, and I have with me today the two Lauras, Laura Clark and Laura Woods, and they work with me, and their jobs are kind of intersecting here today in this project with Belleair Elementary, and we're looking at makerspace and how they're employing it there. And then Laura's work as a technology integration coordinator is working helps the library media specialist, technology specialist, to implement technology.
Correct.
So we have the kids working on something called Osmos. And so Laura, why don't you tell us where the Osmos came from, and then we're going to have Laura tell us what the Osmos do.
Okay. Well, the Osmos are a piece of technology that are used with iPads and give the kids experience with math, reading, spatial organization, coding, creativity, which is what you'll see today, and also masterpiece and music. So they do a lot of different things, and it's an amazing thing to watch these kids in action.
All right. So we do have some clips, and while we're watching the clip, Laura, we'll have you explain what it is they're doing. All right. You can kind of narrate what we're seeing here.
Okay. A legend. What do you want a legend? These students are working on the monster Osmo that is asking them to draw a picture that will go along with what he's doing. So a picture comes up and they have to draw it, and then the virtual piece of it takes a picture of what they're drawing on the whiteboard table there and puts it into the program. And then when the camera angle turns, you'll see how it works. But this group of students are English language learners, and just the verbal discussion between them and what it should look like and the detailed discussion of what this item has to be was a good conversation. They were being asked some questions I wasn't sure they understood, and when I asked, probed them a little bit, they understood completely what a safe was for, how it was heavy. So you'll see this right now. The program picks up the safe, and there it goes. And they see what they created land on the screen. So obviously student engagement is not an issue here. They're all engaged and completely doing it.
So the scenario was they had to draw something heavy because
Correct.
a storm was coming.
Exactly. It asked them specifically for something heavy to hold him down there.
One of the teachers that came in, first grade teacher, and she is going to talk with us a little bit about her experience with bringing her kids into the Makerspace Media Specialist Media.
We come during our recess time, and it's something they look forward to every week on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are Makerspace Day, and it's a fun time for them to have collaborative learning with their peers. They try something different every week, and Mrs. Kurleman has set up fun different stations for them to work with their peers, and it's different than classroom learning, and so it makes it fun and interesting for them.
Would you say it supports classroom learning?
Yes, I would. Like, we have different felt boards that they can do oral storytelling that supports ELA instruction, and we also just their verbal skills, talking and communicating with each other, asking and answering questions within all of their conversations that they have at every station that's set up. And so I think it's a perfect opportunity for them to talk, ask and answer questions, use some academic vocabulary, and there's magnets. We pull in science and we pull in different reading aspects, and so it's really fun and something that they look forward to.
I think the kids really enjoy working together. Like they just, it's not their group or their partner.
Mm-hmm.
They just work. It's what they want to do when they come in that day, because you let them choose, right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
And then they work with whoever's in that group, and they seem to get along great.
We need some more carrots. And we left our one.
So we saw the little girls sitting at the table, looked like they were playing with dolls. Doesn't look uncommon. How is this of value from an academic standpoint?
The children are taking literature that they've read either in the classroom or in the library, and they're reenacting different sequences of it, and they're also using fine motor skills to build things for the reenactment and putting the doll pieces together and the props.
All right. And one of the girls was telling me a very creative story while we were building, and so what's the value of the storytelling from the kids making it up?
I think just their imagination and part of the creativity in the media center is they're creating their own stories. So they've had story time there. They've had chances to check out books, and now they're retelling a story, which, from an English language perspective, is huge for them to be able to talk with each other and get the vocabulary words and create the program themselves.
Okay. So another fun thing they got to do was virtual reality, and you were leading them in this. And so tell us what we're going to see in that little clip about virtual reality.
Somebody had to do it, so I volunteered. Stephanie has previously rolled out Nearpod, which is a program that allows teachers to push out slides to students one at a time, and a piece of it is a virtual reality. So on a previous lesson, Stephanie had taken the kids to Washington Monument, and they could turn around virtually and see Lincoln Memorial there. So they knew about this technology, and then she incorporated some shapes and some 3D shapes in a treehouse program. So the kids knew to come in. It was a student-paced lesson, pick up an iPad, and they could walk through a treehouse. And I was just making sure they were paying attention to shapes in the clip, I think.
Did they know what a treehouse is?
They did know what a treehouse was. They'd never been in one as big as this virtual reality was, but they knew what it was. Weren't quite sure about the structure of it or where it was, but they talked to each other, and we got through it. So,
all right, let's take a look. Visit the treehouse.
Not flat, right? It doesn't have shape. Can you see all the way around it?
Yeah.
So what do you think? You can see them moving the iPads there you go. To virtual walk through the treehouse. So they're trying to be like a video game and go into the different corners and see the different shapes of the rooms and what's in the rooms. With bamboo? Is that bamboo?
How do you think that?
Hang on, what happened to the app?
I was seeing the monkey.
All right, just look around. So then the kids just took turns, then I had them explain to each other, so they had to kind of reuse that vocabulary and some of those words that they had just learned. They had to tell the next person to make it stick a little bit more. Yep, and we're still engaged here. She's not wanting to trade that one off.
Nothing doing, huh?
I think for younger students, we would probably have them sitting rather than moving around like that, just for safety purposes. But they did fine.
Right. Well, I certainly have never seen a treehouse like that, and I'm thinking about the value of the virtual reality field trips. And you mentioned going to the monuments, and so if a student does not have an opportunity to get out and experience these things, it's a way to get there. They could go visit the pyramids in Egypt.
They can dive with turtles. That's the latest.
Dive with turtles.
They can go
Swim
scuba
with
diving
dolphins.
with turtles, sea turtles.
And I've not done that. I would enjoy that. All right. So the final activity that we're going to show here today was really a stroke of creativity on Stephanie's part, which was creating a green screen out of a hallway. And so tell us a little bit about what we're going to see here.
This was something she had just talked about. I didn't even realize she had already rolled it out with her 5th grade students. She has a group that come and do the morning announcements, but it's a small group, and she kind of wanted to expand the experience to some more students. So she wanted them, the 5th graders are currently working on a project about animal reports. And rather than doing paper pencil or construction paper kind of presentations, she thought she needed to incorporate a little more technology. So working with an app, I believe it was Pixabay on her iPad, she had a background projected onto the green screen, or not really projected, but it was on the iPad. And then the students stood and talked about their animal while this animal was in the background. So of course they can't see it, but the student videoing on the iPad can see it. So, and then she can share it with the kids, and that would be their presentation. So,
All right, let's have her tell us about this.
The green screen is just kind of a creation that we had where we just took a wall in a hallway and we put up green paper, and we thought, wouldn't it be fun if the kids could use this, because not all the kids get to be on the news. There's only a small crew. And so we thought, oh, it'd be really fun if they could experience the green screen but not use the studio, because they have to be supervised a lot more back in the studio. So we created this like paper green wall, in a hallway that was visible from the media center, and we downloaded on the iPads just a green screen app. And then the idea kind of behind it was that maybe the kids would take to it and be able to produce something that they wanted but connected to their learning. So we're just trying this out. It's new to us. But one of the things that we're trying is 5th grade has an animal project coming up. And they normally create a brochure about their animal. So normally they do it like a trifold, just brochure. And the thought was, well, what if we could have the kids research their animal, research their habitat, find pictures or video of maybe their habitat for that animal, like an elephant in Africa, and then put themselves in front of the green screen where it actually looks like they're there. And then they could be a reporter, or they could just be a tourist who happened upon, a herd of elephants or something. However they wanted to do it, and create the brochure giving all the information that they've been asked to research, but just in a different format, and maybe in a more, in using technology. Just something different that might appeal to a different learner. So that was the idea behind our green screen. I think it's going to be a big success. I think we're going to find some really neat projects coming out of our little, paper green screen. We'll see.
The thing that I admire so much about that is we often hear about what we don't have and what we can't do, and everyone has a blank wall in a hallway.
And that was one iPad. That was all it was for that group of students as well.
One iPad, so we're not talking one-to-one, anything crazy. Got some green paper. Everybody's got some rolls of green paper around. And so this is a real possibility thinker that we're working with here. So I'm not necessarily, when it comes to technology, that kind of possibility thinker, but Laura, if somebody's out there going, wow, I'd like to do something cool, how can you help them?
They can email us and we can come down and work with their curriculum, and I like to take the content that's going on in the schools right then and use it to incorporate the technology. So we can certainly come and find out what meets their needs, and not necessarily do exactly what Stephanie has done, but something that fits their school and their students and their teachers.
So one of the things that you had mentioned, that you had been in that media center before doing...
Yes, that's how the whole kind of idea started. Was I was there doing PLCs, technology integration PLCs with Class Notebook, and we were on this side of the room. It is a hub. It is for teachers and students to come in and learn. So I was there for PLCs, and the students were behind me doing this makerspace. So I was a little distracted that day, and I would do my work with teachers, and they would go off, and before the next group came in, I was taking pictures of the kids and working with them on the Osmo and the Osbots, and so I got to have a little fun that day, and then suggested that Stephanie share some of these wonderful ideas that she's using, incorporating technology.
So I consider you a real gift to teachers in Pinellas County.
I hope so.
And so if you would like some support and help in implementing these great ideas into your classroom or into Makerspace in your media center, we are available. You can email Laura Clark, Clark L.
Clark L, the only one that's just L. Yes.
Yeah, or you could email me, Colosi C. Make sure you get the C, because there's some other people with that name. Or Trilson S. And we would be glad to set a time to come out and work with you and your colleagues, your team, and really put to use the resources that we have. Thank you all for coming on today and talking with us about this, and we look forward to future episodes. Thank you for joining us today as we visited Belleair Elementary to learn about their makerspace.